Rahel Soren's boots struck the metal deck with controlled rhythm as she strode through the human research vessel Haverhill. The starlit corridor was quiet, too quiet for someone on edge. She was a xenolinguist, expert in alien dialects, and she'd been sent to establish first contact with the Veru Queen high above the arid planet Eniva 3. Diplomacy had seemed promising, but now, as she carried her translator device, the door grated open and hands strong but gentle seized her. "You're coming with us," a voice said. But it wasn't human. Rahel's heart hammered. She'd expected negotiation. Perhaps a tense meeting. Never this. The restraints clicked on her wrists, biogel cuffs adapting to her pulse. She took a steadying breath. Her every instinct, honed through years of negotiation and study, told her to remain calm. Fear would complicate speech patterns, and pattern was everything. In artificial illumination, she glimpsed scales, emerald green, edged with dusk purple, along slender arms. Crystalline structures glittered at her shoulders. The alien escort didn't look hostile, but the restraint was real. Moments later, the escort opened a door and reined her into an enormous chamber carved of transparent geology. Twin suns slanted through mineral veining in walls that gleamed like stained glass. And at the far end of the room, reigning over columns of living vine, sat Veru Queen Amirai. Rahel froze, entranced. The queen was both insectoid and humanoid, tall and slender, with limbs long and graceful. Her head bore a crest like a blooming flower. Soft bioluminescent filaments traced across her throat and temples. And yet, among these alien features, Rahel saw something achingly familiar: emotion. Curiosity. Rahel greeted in the Veru ceremonial dialect, the word for star friend. It was a greeting few on Eniva 3 still knew, and rarer still was spoken at official level. The queen raised a filigreed eyebrow. "You're not like other humans," Amirai's voice rippled, melodic and commanding. She moved forward, her attendants behind her like tapered shadows. "Few remember Ura. Why do you speak the old tongue?" Rahel unclenched her jaw. "I studied it," she said softly. "It's part of honoring trust. Words carry meaning." Amirai advanced, eyes fixed. She stopped a pace away, close, but not too close. "You might have approached me with fear," she said. "But you greeted me as a friend first. Unusual." Rahel's pulse eased. Fear poisons translation. If I'm to speak for humanity, I needed clarity. A silence followed, then Amirai leaned closer. "What do you want, Rahel Soren?" The queen's inquiry hung in the crystalline air. Rahel felt the weight of her words. She steadied her voice. "I want understanding. I want alliance, true alliance, not surrender." Amirai's filaments brightened. "You speak with confidence. And yet you are in my custody. You are bold." Rahel met the queen's gaze. "If my people came unbidden, perhaps. But I came to learn, not conquer." The queen considered. "Knowledge without fear. That is rare." She snapped her fingers, and the guards released Rahel's bonds. "Walk with me." In the corridors that curved like living roots, Queen Amirai's voice was calmer. "Tell me, human scholar, why choose Ura, instead of your own languages?" Rahel slowed. "I studied every dialect I could find. Ura, it expresses intention. Phrases carry feeling woven in words. It felt appropriate." Amirai's touch brushed Rahel's arm as they moved. "You understand nuance." Rahel smiled, careful not to let relief show. "I hope so." They entered a chamber filled with floating vessels, containing water, air, minerals, each an artifact of Veru burial rites. Amirai gestured. "These are relics. Choosing one's words is as important as choosing one's preservation vessel." Rahel stepped in. "Then I choose this one." She pointed at a clear orb with luminescent moss inside. "For clarity, continuity. Queen Amirai studied it. Then nodded. Appropriate. A pause. Then she said, I expected you to beg. Rahel froze. Beg? Amirai's crest tilted like a petal. Yes. Humans believed we would enslave you. I expected desperation. Rahel drew a breath. I would never beg. There's nothing to beg for if we meet as equals. A longer silence. Amirai's filaments glowed deep violet. You speak truthfully. I sense no fear. Only resolve. Rahel met those many-faceted eyes. I'm not here to please you. But I am here to speak. And listen. Amirai stepped closer, fragrance of alien blossoms drifting. You could have remained safe in your ship. Instead you came here unshielded. Yes. Why? Rahel thought of Earth, its fractured politics, its pressing needs, its fear of others. She remembered why she chose xenolinguistics. Because language builds bridges. If I stay silent, only suspicion grows. As if weighing this, Amirai looked at Rahel for long seconds. I will test you. Rahel's mind tightened. I accept. The queen waved, and a door slid open onto a balcony overlooking a rose-bent forest under twin moons. A breeze stirred fluorescent petals, and the moons cast blue-silver web across leaves. Speak this phrase, Amirai said, in your tongue. She whispered something in fluent Ur. Rahel listened. The phrase was short, but musical, like prayer. She repeated it, carefully capturing cadence and feeling. Mirel Varan Si Del, she intoned. Amirai's filaments pulsed, a slow, warm light. Correct. With feeling. Rahel paused. I meant respect. Amira's eyes softened. Then you passed this test. Rahel exhaled softly. Thank you. Queen Amirai guided her back inside. You will dine with me, she paused. Freely. After that, we speak of alliance. Rahel's heart skipped, dining with the queen was unheard of. I am honored. Amirai's lips curved. I would have believed captivity is easier. The dinner hall glowed under living crystal chandeliers, tiny vines like veins of light weaving across the ceiling. Rahel followed Queen Amirai down a central aisle, flanked on both sides by seated dignitaries, Veru nobles, advisors, scholars. Each watched Rahel with curiosity and caution. Their compound eyes flickered like distant galaxies, tracking her movements. Rahel had been instructed on proper posture, tongue placement, respectful speech rhythms. Still, every step felt surreal. Centuries of cautious détente lay between their peoples, yet here she was, human among Veru, in the seat of their queen. Amirai seated Rahel at the table's center, within intimate range of her throne. Rahel noticed finely carved utensils that looked alive, bioprosthetic material that responded to touch, adjusting shape. Beside them, dishes glimmered with unfamiliar fruits, succulent greens that pulsed like little moons, and soups that whispered with aromatic tendrils. You may begin, Amirai said in soft tones that seemed to resonate in Rahel's chest. I find your palate curious. Rahel looked down at her bowl. She recognized some vegetables but others, like pale sea sprouts shimmering with silvery veins, were alien. She dipped a spoon and tasted. Flavors blossomed, tart, sweet, with faint mineral warmth. Delicate, she said, finding a phrase in proper Veru for subtle delight. Amirai's filaments brightened gently. Correct, Ben. The court witnessed this exchange in silence, some shifted uneasily. Rahel recalled Amirai's earlier challenge, the dialect of Ur. Now in formal banquet, the dialect shifted. She focused, listening, responding, honoring the queen's tone. Language was her lifeline, her bridge. Misuse could fracture trust. Conversation flowed, about Eniva's ecology, fleet navigation through dust storms, shared challenges. In every moment, Rahel felt both diplomat and performer, wrong word and centuries of fragile hope might unravel. After courses ended, Amirai rose. Now I wish to understand you. She led Rahel to an alcove filled with floating glyphs, ancient words of power, colorful letters drifting in magnetic space. We use language not just to communicate, Amirai said, voice as smooth as glass. We use it to heal. To remember. When our words are lost, we become fragmented. Rahel studied the glyphs. Some resembled flowers frozen mid-blossom, others looked like shimmering water droplets connected in constellations. She recognized one, the Ur phrase she'd spoken earlier, mirrored here. Even though shaped like a petal, Rahel read its meaning in Ur, star friend. A midfless swelling of awe filled her. These glyphs were physical memory, language made substance. Rahel reached out, a glyph glowed and resonated when her fingertips brushed it. A silent hum emerged. Try, Amirai prompted, gesturing to a glyph that resembled overlapping circles, symbol of trust. Rahel inhaled, recited the Ur equivalent, Adakam si eno. As she spoke, the glyph shimmered, spun, and projected a soft light into the chamber. Beautiful, Amirai praised. You awaken it. Nobility piped nods or minimal gestures, their respect notable. Then Amirai beckoned to a glyph shaped like a broken ring. This is Trace Han, pain. She paused, voice colder. Speak its echo. Rahel hesitated, this was beyond vocabulary. Words carry feeling. She looked at Amirai, meeting her crest, as if asking permission. Amirai nodded. Rahel whispered in Ur, voice low, Trace Han Oya Kaventha. Pain is the weight of memories lost. The glyph trembled, vibrating across the chamber. Rahel felt warmth, ache, not hers but echo of loss contained within the word. Amirai's filaments glowed an iridescent violet blue. You speak with empathy. She approached Rahel. You feel our grief through words. Rahel swallowed. I've studied your language, and your history. The extinction of the old clans, I know it brought sorrow to all Veru. Amirai paused. That simple acknowledgement caused a ripple in the assembly. Grief touched memory. You know more than expected, Amirai said quietly. Why? Rahel looked up, voice steady. Because your story matters. I understand the power of language to carry history. If we wish to stand equal, I can't only speak of your summers, I must honor your winters. She lowered gaze, a gesture of respect, not submission. Queen Amirai regarded her for a long moment. Then she gestured toward the glyphs. Join me. Rahel stepped beside Amirai, together they lifted glyphs, trust, unity, memory, forgiveness, forming an arch of living language. Amirai's fingertips brushed Rahel's. Warmth spread through her hand, tinged with chemical traces of Queen's luminescence, a connection both physical and emotional. The courtyard lights dimmed. Rahel felt something shift inside her, understanding had passed beyond intellect into resonance. She glanced at Amirai, the Queen's expression brimmed with something deeper than satisfaction, perhaps hope, or vulnerability. Servants arranged cushions around the glyph chamber. Amirai Saturday Rahel followed. They faced one another across a low pool with floating lilies. Soft water rippled between them. Tell me, Amirai said, why language? You speak for humans. What drives you personally? Rahel took a breath. I've watched my home world fracture. I've seen mistranslations, words misused to justify war. I believed if we could just understand each other better, avoid cycles of fear, we could prevent more pain. Voice trembling. I lost someone, my brother, because a word was misread, and a treaty failed. Quilts of alien lilies trembled. Amirai's crest lowered slightly. I understand loss, she said. When we lost the southern clans, the meaning of our word for home, became a wound. My people fractured. She paused, voice distant. I was young. I remember trying to gather them all, speaking those words over and over, but drifted further away. Rahel rose slightly, their knees touched. Words can carry those wounds into new places, but also heal. Amirai studied her. How do we heal? Rahel's mind raced. She'd prepared speeches, proposals, protocols for peace, but this? Personal. We remember together. In our languages, not replace one with another. Share stories. Listen. Amirai's filaments pulsed soft white, resonating in steady rhythm. I have not let anyone walk this path with me since then. I want to, Rahel said softly. Not as captive or envoy. As person. Space stretched between them. The lilies floated. Ambient light shimmered. Then Amirai's crest tipped forward, not mocking, but inviting. I will tell you, she spoke a word in Ura featuring those glyphic echo. Hear me. Rahel listened as Amirai wove history and heartbreak, of lost clans, political betrayal, the rise of isolationist factions. But most of all, of his personal promise, to heal, to learn, to build alliance beyond old wounds. Rahel realized tears welled in her eyes. She choked a breath. Amirai, she whispered in Ura, picking the intimate form of address, meaning, shining heart, startled, Queen tied fingertips to Rahel's. Filaments glowed co-bright. They stayed there long, sharing stories until moons dipped beneath horizon. No words about alliance or captives, only truths. When Rahel left the chamber, her pulse thrummed with something new, compassion for this ruler, empathy for her pains. But politics still cast long shade. Would this bond endure scrutiny from court? She returned to her quarters, simple but comfortable, thanked the servant, and collapsed upon the mattress. Midnight suns shone through crystalline lattices, painting intricate reflections. Rahel's mind replayed evening dialogues, glowing glyphs, shared grief. She touched her fingers to her lips, words were more than instruments, they were vessels of soul. And Queen Amirai, agreeing to reveal vulnerability, let Rahel glimpse possibilities. In the silence, she pressed palmtop, drafted a report. Veru Queen Amirai shows openness, reserved but genuine. Trust built beyond protocol. Recommend further dialogues focusing on shared memory, language exchange. Personal rapport forming. She checked, send, but didn't press. Not yet. This belonged to her and Amirai, for now. A soft chime punctured the quiet. A message, come to Palace Archive. Queen wishes. No stamp, just identifier. Ding. Rahel rose. Palace Archive, where Veru recorded history, language. Dangerous intimacy, or opportunity. She breathed. Curiosity pulled her forward. In the archive, walls of crystalline shelves housed living texts, books that glowed, words that shifted. At its center, Queen Amirai waited, silhouette regal. Thank you for coming, she said. Rahel inclined. You wanted to share. Amirai gestured at the shelves. I want you to read our earliest treaty text, a draft version of ancient alliance ceremonies. It's not public. I trust you. Her voice caught unknowingly in Rahel's chest. Trust, considerable. Rahel stepped forward. She gently removed a glowing volume. Inside, text danced, Veru's script interwoven with Ura phonetics. Rahel gasped. This double-scripted treaty predated current records by centuries. I discovered fragments in my grandmother's scrolls, Amirai said. It speaks of humans. Or beings like you, as companions against an unknown threat. Rahel frowned, humans visiting eons ago. Or myth, she scanned radiant pages. Lost. Amirai looked somber. Lost. Erased, she paused at a passage. We, Veru and Utera, seal this pact in memory and word, so neither species shall forget unity under the twin moons. Rahel read aloud in Ura and Veru mixed cadence. The chamber echoed. Tears shimmered in Amirai's eyes, filaments dimmed blue. These ones were our ancestors. Humans traveled before, as companions. Rahel felt a quake, proof of ancient contact. Humanity not new. Fragile alliance nearly erased. This changes everything, Rahel whispered. Amirai stepped closer, tone urgent. We need to restore this memory. But ceremony lost, the words incomplete. I need your help to reconstruct them. Rahel swallowed. Help you, but openly. To court. Amirai hesitated, jaw flexing. If we reveal this treaty, conservative factions will oppose it. They don't trust humans. But without it, we lack legitimacy. Rahel knew the risk. But this was vital. I'll do it. I'll work with your archivists. Amirai exhaled in relief. Thank you. Rahel noted the flicker in that statement. It was no formal thanks. It was gratitude rooted in vulnerability. They worked late, translating, decoding, piecing words. Rahel, with deep knowledge of Urar's archaic constructions, guided the process. Amirai, with instinct and memory, provided emotional glue. Every missing glyph, Rahel offered possible Urar cognates, Amirai judged tone, nuance. As night turned moonless hours, their heads bent together over glowing pages. Filaments touched, light pulsed. Rahel felt adrenaline, warmth, intimacy. She glimpsed across the table, Amirai's eyes shimmered, crest lowered. Heart inside Rahel's rib cage hammered, not fear now, but something else, connection. And from this bond, new words emerged, phrases that stitched humans and Veyru together. Verse for old ceremony. Seluvar Ehen, twin moons above, we stand together, Tassalorn, heart's oath, flesh and memory entwined. Exhausted tears showed on Amirai's face. Rahel reached and brushed away a drop. We did it. Amirai nodded, voice trembling, yes. We have hope. Silence, but full. Rahel whispered, in plain human, I'm honored. Amirai responded in Urar-inflected Veyru, my heart opens. These words, simple, true. Shared. The hours folded. Dawn light slipped through archive windows. Amirai and Rahel stood, peering at reconstructed text. A relic piece of diplomacy reborn. Will you present it to court with me? Amirai asked, soft. Rahel brushed hair off neck. I will. She thought of Earth diplomats watching. Thought of her respect, affection for this queen. With you. Amirai's filaments brightened. Then let us begin. They stepped from archive into palace corridors, hand brushing belt, a discreet contact, electric. Each slow breath carried anticipation of what waited, court, confrontation, but most of all, possibility. Alliance. Something new, born of two hearts connected by words. And as they approached the throne room, Rahel let go of fear. She embraced hope. Tonight the court would hear reclaimed words. Tomorrow they would bring their peoples closer. And somewhere in between, she realized, she was falling. The alabaster vault of the Veyru palace opened onto twilight. Twin moons, one pale silver, one deep onyx, hung low. Beneath their shared gaze, Queen Amirai and Rahel walked through the obsidian-marbled courtyard. Lantern blooms glowed softly, echoing the queen's filaments, and the air thrummed with the quiet pulse of ceremony. 1. Ceremonial invitation. This is our celebration of convergence, Amirai said, voice hushed among aromatic mists drifting across ancient pavers. Once every cycle, under moonlight, we honor new bonds. Tonight, the world watches us. Rahel's heart clenched at the honor. She wore a ceremonial Urar gown offered by Amirai, silvery white draped silk threaded with soft violet luminescence, cradling her frame as if it had grown from her skin. The gown bore living glyphs, the words for unity and memory, etched in soft glowing script across neckline and sleeve. Her limbs trembled, not from fear, but from significance. Here she stood, at the center of alien tradition, centuries away from Earth, a human amidst a world reborn. They joined the circle of nobles and advisors, Veyru clad in living robes of shimmering tones, their filaments bright with interest. Atop a raised dais, geometric glyphs hovered in the air, twin moons, bonds sworn, memory to memory. The glyphs' soft pulses echoed the dancers' steps at the far end. Amirai offered her hand. "Speak the vow," glancing at Rahel, she added, "our treaty's first public performance." Rahel swallowed, stepping forward. Feeling the queen's hand tighten around hers, she whispered Ur as the glyph 4, twin moons, glowed. Seluvar Ehen, Tossalorn Coventh. Beneath twin moons, heart's oath entwines. The glyph shimmered. The court hushed. Lanterns flickered. Nobles watched as the words took shape, the sound resonating across courtyard stones. When she spoke the final word, the moonlight glowed over the glyphs, and they fused into a living arc that linked her and Amirai, filament to fingertip. The crowd exhaled. Gasps of awe. Some wept. Others bowed. Rahel's heart thundered in her chest. She met Amirai's gaze, soft violet light. Pride. Trust. The queen whispered, "You have made us remember." 2. Assassination attempt. No one saw the shift. Nor the flicker by the moonlit arbor at the courtyard edge, a slender figure, pale as jade, fingers curling around curved blade tipped with dark venom. It was an outsider, a member of the isolationist faction, clad in silken black, blending with shadows. A cold plan: end the treaty's performance, slay the queen or her companion, sow discord. The assassin moved. Steps silent. Target: Rahel herself. Killing her under oath would stain ceremony with blood, guaranteeing backlash, mistrust, war. As nobles whispered about the treaty's power, Rahel stepped forward, kneeling beside Amirai. Lanterns reflected in her pupils, moonlight shimmered off her gown's living glyphs. The assassin crouched behind a column. Finger tightened on blade. Lunged. But Amirai acted first. A shimmering pulse erupted from the queen's filaments. Time slowed. Blade nicked Rahel's shoulder, thin slash, but the venom leaked. Rahel gasped. Crisis ignited ceremony. Guards converged. A flash, Blade's owner collided with royal guard. Oathbreakers splashed across marble, the assassin tried to flee. And fell, caught, pinned. The courtyard erupted. Some panicked, others rushed to Rahel. Nobles gasped at cleavage of treaty and life. Amirai knelt to Rahel, filaments glowing white-hot. "Stand," she commanded guard in Ur, "clear path to heal her now." Rahel's vision blurred, pain radiating. She looked up, fear and shock mixing with adrenaline. Queen's hand cradled her brow. Someone shouted universal alarm. The ceremony shattered. Court erupted into action, some shielding others, guards restraining the assassin. Rahel swayed, but then, steadied, she looked at Amirai, eyes locked across imperiled moment. The queen spoke, urgent whisper, "Stay with me." Rahel obeyed. 3. Emergency ritual. A hush fell as Amirai rose, hair filaments dimming but pulsing with intensity. She reached for Rahel's robe, locating incision. Blade thin. "It is venom, foreign," muttered Healer Vizera, stepping forward with crystalline vial. Her robes glowed gentle yellow light. Amirai touched the wound. Her filaments pulsed brighter, sharing warmth. Rahel felt alien calm bloom inside her veins. "Quick," Vizera whispered. "Queen, your venom antidote." Amirai hesitated, protocol forbade mixing royal remedies, but the emergency demanded it. She placed a drop of glowing serum into the wound. Rahel's eyes widened. Filaments surged, white blossoms along Queen's crest. Queen murmured incantation in Veru. Words rolled like water over stone. Rahel felt lightness, warmth spreading. Pain receded. Vial open, Bezerra applied antiseptic aloe salve. Rahel leaned into the queen's touch. Nobles watched, stunned, hushed. With ritual calm, Rahel spoke. "It is gone," she exhaled, filaments dimmed. Officers restrained assassin, fingers bound with living cords. He spat curses in Veru dialects. Queen glared, cold as obsidian moon. Rahel's hand trembled. Amirai entwined fingers around hers, firm, protective. Circle of nobles parted. Queen's voice come to microphone glyph, ceremony resumed. Rahel stared up, fear, courage, trust swirling in her gaze. They rose and stepped together to dais. 4. Vow completed. Council elder approached, ancient Veru whose filaments were pale blue arcs. He regarded Rahel with solemnity. "You stood under threat. Yet offered your bond. We honor that." He chanted Veru, lines of oath and forgiveness. His glyph flicked across dais, unity stronger than fear. Queen and Rahel repeated vow lines. Then, raising joined hands, uttered final phrase. "Memory binds us, fear shall never sunder." In unison, they reached upward under moons. Glyph arch burned white-blue. Court gasped. Song rose, choral hymn of alliance. Rahel gasped at resonance in bones. As final note faded, Queen pressed rostrum button. Guards took assassin's cuffed arm. Queen spoke to court, "Let no one doubt, our bond is forged in moonlight, tempered by trial, and sworn in trust." Rahel looked at Queen, gratitude and love glimmering. 5. Aftershock and secret exchange. Ceremony ended. Nobles parted in reverent hush. Amirai guided Rahel away, entourage following. In private arboretum, moonlight-drenched blooms, tendrils of scent, they slowed. Bloodstain on Rahel's gown glowed faintly violet. Amirai laid down. "Let me tend it," she wove filaments across the wound, knitting flesh. Rahel winced, Queen's fingers hovered over pain. Rahel pressed her fingers to Queen's arm. Filaments pulsed soft. "Why did you risk yourself?" Rahel whispered. Amirai paused. "Because you are not just envoy," she said. "You are my bond." Rahel choked back tears. "And you saved me." They stared at each other. Moonlight carved patterns over their linked hands. Then Amirai's voice dropped to intimate, "When the blade struck you, I saw fear. And something deeper." Rahel's breath caught. "What?" Amirai traced a filament along Rahel's forearm. "Not just fear of death. It was fear for me, for us." Rahel closed her eyes. She realized she had feared too, losing Queen, losing bond. A breath. They leaned closer. For a heartbeat, they just stared. Then Queen whispered, "Promise me." Rahel's lips brushed Queen's. Soft. Tentative. Then deeper. The kiss pulsed with moonlight energy, filaments brightening briefly. Rahel felt electric warmth. When they drew apart, both were silent, hushed with emotion. 6. Rising stakes. Dawn approached. Ceremony's afterglow cooled. In Palace Council Hall, conspirators met silently. Queen's trusted General Errol spoke, "This assassination proves factions plan action." Rahel sat beside Queen. She had bandages over shoulder, healing fast. Relic of bond. Foreign dignitaries from Aniva III watched, human diplomats took notes, stunned. Amirai addressed council, "We have uncovered betrayal. I will root it out." Rahel Sorin, "My heart bond, is my personal envoy to Earth. She will carry our treaty." Murmurs. Humans observed. Significance immense. Rahel's pulse fluttered. She held Queen's eyes. Queen nodded, silent support. Errol spoke again, quietly, time is short. The isolationists will strike again. We must act. Queen nodded gravely, we will. But we will act together, Veru and human. Rahel felt the weight of that, not just envoy, but partner. 7. Final promise. That night, Rahel back in quarters, a safe room, prepared report, assassination attempt, completed bond, Queen's declaration. But before sending, she pressed link, to Amirai, thank you for saving me. I promise to honor this bond with my life. She paused. Light spilled through tall crystalline windows of the Royal Council chamber, fragmenting into rainbow patterns across the polished floor as Queen Amirai entered, Rahel beside her. Nobles and advisors lined three sides, their filaments low, some expectant, some wary. At the front, Elder Errol stood behind a gleaming podium, his every movement deliberate. The hour has come, he said in measured tones. We shall hold the trial of truth. Rahel swallowed, her heart pounded as if echoing ancient drums. The trial of truth was more than ritual, it was the crucible of loyalty. Participants speak nothing but truth, laid bare before crown and council. Any lie brings dishonor that echoes across generations. Amirai's voice echoed in Rahel's mind, this is ours to walk together. She exhaled. Errol continued, the trial will test your bond, Queen and envoy. Beneath the sacred glyphs of confrontation, you must speak your truths. Strangers may pass. Can two beings from different worlds hold unity where deception falls? A hush fell. Rahel glanced at Amirai, Queen's filaments glowed soft violet, resolve and comfort. The bond was real. She nodded. We begin, Errol intoned. Twin glyphs ignited on the wall behind him, truth, in Ur, and in ancient Veru script. Beneath them, a raised circular platform waited. Each took place upon it, Amirai first. She lifted her chin as robed clerks placed a band of truth, a collar-like coil that sensed inner fluctuations, around her neck. Your gift? Errol asked. Amirai's filaments brightened. I gift unity. I gift memory. I gift hope. And your vow? He asked. To speak only truth, no omission, no concealment, her voice held strength. The second coil encircled Rahel. Queen brushed her hand, grounding her. Council leaned forward. Human diplomat observing noted tension in every breath. Your gift? Errol asked Rahel. Rahel inhaled, her voice steady. I gift understanding. I gift empathy. I gift loyalty. A murmur rose, loyalty between species, uncertain, dangerous. Council watched Queen's reaction. Queen held steady, filaments glowing pale violet, the sign of proud approval. 2. The first question, hidden fears. Errol spoke slowly, each word threading through silence. Rahel Soren, what do you fear most about alliance? Rahel paused. Fear. She felt fear, fear of dishonor, of misstep, of consequences. But she also knew the council needed truth. I fear betrayal, she said. Between our peoples, between our emotions. Betrayal by silence, by half-truths, by thinking we are superior. I fear that I, a human, could damage your trust with wrong words or misreadings. Judges nodded. Queen's filaments pulsed soft assurance. Rahel continued, I fear that, what I feel for you might cloud my judgment. Loyalty must be to alliance, not to personal affection. A hush settled, many expected she'd reveal fear of death or exile. She laid her soul bare. Errol bowed his head. Queen. Amirai's voice was steady, her honesty is gift. I share her fear, for words unspoken can fracture trust. I vow to speak, to listen, filaments brightened. 3. The second question, secret desires. Errol addressed Queen Amirai. What is your secret desire for this bond? Rahel's pulse hammered again. Desire? Political gain? Sincerity? She watched Amirai's crest quiver. My secret desire, Queen said, voice low, is connection beyond politics. I have ruled as queen, isolation and protocol for centuries. I long, to feel unity, to share burdens, culture, heart. She met Rahel's gaze. And I desire to love, and be loved, in return. Shock rippled through court. Personal admission, bold. Rahel felt warmth, tears. Counselor Vizara's filaments flashed cautious red. Many idyllic at confession, but protocol frowned on public emotion. Errol motioned to continue. Queen swallowed. I desire, to feel complete. Her crest dipped. With her. 4. The third question, inward betrayals. Now Errol's tone hardened. Rahel Soren, have you held secrets from this court? Rahel closed eyes, truth unspooled. She had not reported everything from archive sessions. Amirai had asked to delay sending some findings until treaty ceremony completed. Could she hide that from pressure? Yes. She stepped forward, voice clear. Yes, silence crashed. I withheld full archive treaties, because revealing them prematurely would have endangered this bond, endangered diplomatic progress, endangered her. In withholding, I betrayed Council's right to full knowledge. But I believe I have acted for alliance, not deceit. A tribunal gasp. This was dangerous truth. Council glared. Queen's filaments pulsed intensely. Amirai grasped Rahel's hand. Reason to withhold? Errol asked. Rahel bowed head. We both knew opposition would use it to chase me from court, to ruin bond. Time was choice. A long pause. Queen's voice flowed, she was right. And her promise was to alliance. Council watched. Queen's defense was unprecedented, amour coupled with diplomacy. Many eyes turned to Rahel. 5. Fourth question, ancestral guilt. Errol turned to Queen. Amirai, some say your ancestors sought dominance of humans. What do you say? Queen hesitated. Centuries of history, conquest, betrayal. She inhaled and said firmly. My ancestors, yes. They saw beings from Earth as uncivilized. When those ancient humans traveled Aniva 3, some were enslaved, some killed. That history, my lineage remembers. Ours is a debt. This bond is way to atone, to correct, no erase history, but to transform its memory. Audible sorrow. Rahel gripped Queen's hand still. One advisor whispered to neighbor. Rahel's translator picked words. This is real atonement, not rhetoric. She realized how powerful Queen's betrayal of her own lineage was. 6. Fifth question, future sacrifices. Errol said, both. What sacrifice are you prepared to make? Rahel's mind raced. Sacrifice, for alliance, for love. She inhaled. I will sacrifice, returning to Earth without new knowledge if it means keeping her safe and treaty intact. I will place this bond above personal ambition, above reputation. Eyes widened. Queen nodded slightly. Amirai stepped forward, I will sacrifice the throne. If court rejects alliance for our bond, I will abdicate. I will choose truth, love, unity, over crown. Silvery tears glinted on crest. Shock. Many knights gasped. Rahel squeezed Queen's hand. 7. Council deliberation. Errol raised hand, gravity returned. Bond proven, but council must deliberate. And deliberated they did, for hours. Rahel and Queen withdrew to anteroom, their filaments dim. Rahel removed the truth coil and massaged her throat. I feared telling them about secret desire, she admitted. But it felt required. Amirai inhaled. Your honesty, is beyond diplomacy. She brushed Rahel's cheek. My love, is truth. Rahel closed eyes, heart pounding. Their bond sparked, time stopped for them. But protocol loomed. 8. Verdict and aftermath. An hour later, council reassembled. Errol proclaimed. The trial of truth is over. Bond declared valid. Treaty is honorable. Council offers full support. Cheers and gasps. Queen exhaled. Rahel sobbed. Errol concluded, we seal treaty under twin moons. Our peoples will witness ceremony soon. Queen enveloped Rahel in embrace. Filaments glowed warm. Nobility watched with awe, some tears, some respect. 9. Private aftermath. Later, in palace gardens, Rahel and Queen sat beneath a weeping vine tree, bioluminescent petals drifting. Rahel leaned against Queen's shoulder. We passed. Amirai kissed Rahel's forehead. You passed with grace. Your soul is luminous. She traced Rahel's finger. But have you forgiven yourself for withholding? Rahel nodded. I did it to protect us. Now I understand, truth is our strongest ally. They gazed at moonlight, bonded beyond policy, beyond species. 10. Rising threat. Footsteps approached, General Errol. Serious expression. My queen, envoy, reports, isolationists gathering beyond Eastern Canyon. They prepare demonstration, possibly armed. Rahel stiffened. Queen's filaments hardened. We journey there. We must quell unrest before public ceremony, Errol said.